All right, so you guys have been asking for a deep dive on this whole AI collaboration thing, and it seems like AI is like everywhere these days, but it's not just about AI like taking over tasks. It's more about teaming up with us.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We're at a real turning point in how we think about AI.
Yeah, and all our sources are like packed with examples of this playing out. Like there's this painter, Mia Torres, who uses AI to basically co-create her art. She uses this program called Mid-Journey to like generate these incredible dreamlike sketches. And then she takes those AI creations and adds her own artistic flair and emotions to finish them off. She calls it a dance with technology.
I love that.
Me too. It's such a cool way to put it, right?
It really captures the essence of this new era of AI.
Right.
It's not about replacing human creativity. It's about amplifying it, providing a new kind of partner in the creative process.
Totally. And it's not just art. Either one of the research papers you sent me talks about a team at Stanford using AI to help radiologists read x-rays. And apparently they've seen like a 30% decrease in misdiagnoses when radiologists team up with AI. So it's literally saving lives.
That's a great example of how AI can enhance human expertise. The AI can spot those tiny details that might be missed by the human eye, while the radiologist brings their experience knowledge of the patient's history and that nuanced human judgment to the table. It's a really powerful combination.
Yeah, it's like the best of both worlds, for sure. So what's fueling this shift toward AI as a collaborator? Is it just that the technology has gotten so much better, so much faster?
Well, technology is definitely a huge part of it. The leaps and bounds we've seen in computing power and the sheer amount of data we're generating have paved the way for these incredibly sophisticated AI systems.
More data, more power, more potential. That makes sense.
Exactly. But what's equally important is the shift in our thinking about what AI can be. We're no longer just trying to create AI that serves us. We're aiming for AI that can work with us as a true partner.
Okay, and that's where things start to get really interesting because we've got some info here about XAI and their AI called Grok, and they're all about what they call anticipatory AI.
Yes, XAI is definitely pushing the boundaries here. The idea behind anticipatory AI is that it doesn't just react to what you tell it to do, it tries to understand your needs and proactively offer solutions. Imagine an AI that like drafts your emails before you even think to write them.
Okay, that sounds super helpful, but also kind of creepy. Like, how does it even know what I want to say?
Well, that's where the shift from reactive AI to generative AI comes in. Think of it like this older AI systems were like calculators. You input a problem and they gave you an answer. But generative AI is more like a rough draft machine. It can actually create content, compose things, generate new ideas, not just process information.
Okay, that analogy makes sense. But how does this rough draft machine actually help us? What makes it a collaborator and not just a fancy tool?
Think about it this way. Let's say you're stuck on a writing project, writer's block. We've all been there. A generative AI could help you break through that block by, say, generating different story outlines or coming up with variations on a character you're developing. It's like having a brainstorming partner who can instantly explore all sorts of creative possibilities.
So it's not about the AI writing the whole story. It's about helping you get unstuck and push your own creative boundaries. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. It's about unlocking new levels of creativity and productivity by tapping into the unique strengths of both humans and AI.
So how does all this work on a technical level? Like what's going on under the hood when we interact with an AI like Grok?
Much of this AI is powered by something called a neural network. Now, it's not a biological brain, but it's a complex system of algorithms that are designed to mimic the way our brains process information.
Okay, so kind of like a digital brain, we hear that a lot, but how does this digital brain actually learn and adapt to our individual needs and preferences?
It's all about the data. These neural networks are trained on massive amounts of data. We're talking billions of examples of text, images, code, you name it. And through this training, they learn to recognize patterns in the data. The more data they process, the more sophisticated their understanding becomes.
So if I'm using Grok all the time to write, it starts to pick up on my style, my tone, the kinds of things I like to write about.
Precisely, it becomes personalized to you. That's what allows it to co-create with you in a way that feels natural and intuitive.
Yeah.
It's not just pulling random information from the internet, it's drawing on a deep understanding of your specific needs and interests.
That's pretty amazing, but it also sounds like it could raise some privacy concerns. The more personalized the AI gets, the more it knows about us, right?
Absolutely. That's something we need to be very mindful of as this technology evolves. But
Welcome
before we
to the
dive
deep
into
dive.
those concerns, I think it's
We've
important
got
to highlight
quite a
just
journey
how
ahead of us today.
impactful this
A deep
AI
dive
collaboration is
into the
becoming in the
early
real world.
life and
There
career
are some
of,
truly inspiring
Elon
examples
Musk.
out there.
You're right.
Yeah,
Let's see what AI collaboration is actually
always
achieving in
fascinating to
different
look
fields.
back at the early
And this
days of
example
someone
of
like
AI
Elon
being
Musk,
used in
Yes.
especially
prosthetics
someone who's
development really
achieved
caught
so
my
much.
eye.
Yes,
to see
there's this incredible
where
team in
those
Japan
ambitions
that's
came
using
from.
AI to design
And
custom
we've got some
prosthetic
really interesting
limbs.
material to work with.
The
It really
AI
gets into those
analyzes the
formative
patient's
years
movement
up
data,
to his first
how they
big
walk, how
financial
they move,
successes.
and then uses that information
this is a
to
story that's
rapidly
been told and
generate
retold,
a
but I
3D
think the
model of a
sources you've pulled
prosthetic
together
limb
offer
that's
some
specifically
really
tailored to their
unique
needs.
perspectives.
So the AI brings
Let's get
speed and
into it. Let's start at the
efficiency to the
beginning.
design process.
Born
But
June
human
28,
engineers are still a
1971,
crucial part
in
of the
Pretoria,
equation.
South Africa.
Absolutely. The engineers
Reeve
refine the
Musk.
design, making
His
sure it's
parents were
comfortable,
Errol
fits
Musk, an
perfectly, and even looks
electromechanical
good.
engineer,
It's a great
and
example of
May
how AI
Musk,
can
a
handle the
model and
heavy lifting,
dietitian.
freeing up human
Standard,
experts to focus on the aspects that
upbringing on
require
the surface.
empathy, creativity,
But
and
even
that
in those early
irreplaceable
years, the
human
family
touch.
dynamics
It's
seem
like
to
this
be kind of
perfect blend
complex.
of
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
AI's
his parents
technical
divorced when he was
power
9.
and
human
he
compassion.
he made the choice to
Really
live with his
remarkable
father,
stuff what
Errol.
other fields
Yeah.
are seeing
And
these kinds of breakthroughs.
Well, AI is also
we
making
can't draw
waves
any
in
definitive
creative fields
conclusions
like
from
music.
that,
There's
but,
this band called
it
Pulse
does
that
raise
uses
questions.
AI to
About the
compose
impact,
basic
right?
tracks
I mean,
for
you
their
think about a
songs.
9-year-old
It's pretty
going through
mind-blowing.
that.
AI
and,
making music now, that's what I
maybe
call
developing a
collaboration.
certain,
So are the human musicians basically
I
just sitting
don't know,
back
a certain
and
need
letting the
for
AI do all the work?
validation, or
Not at all.
maybe
It's
even
still a
sense
very
of
collaborative process. For
um,
example, they
having
be
drummer
self-reliant.
in
Yeah,
Echo
yeah,
Pulse
possibly.
will
A
take
kind of
the
internal
AI-generated
fortitude,
track
maybe.
and then
You
use
can
his
see how that
own
might play out
skills
in
and
his later life.
musicality
But
to tweak the
but
rhythm,
even
add
beyond that, I
fills,
mean,
and
it's
inject that
pretty
raw
clear
human
from the
energy into
materials that
performance.
even
Their
as a
latest
kid,
album is a
Elon
testament
was
to this
operating
synergy.
on a
It's a
different
beautiful
intellectual
blend
level.
of
Oh, absolutely.
AI
This
composition
is
and
a
human
kid who,
emotion.
Well,
At
I'm
10 years
definitely gonna
old
check that
is
out. But
devouring
speaking of
science
human
fiction.
emotion, there's
And,
always
and
that
get
big
this,
question
programming
looming.
manuals.
Right. When we
Not
talk
exactly
about
your
AI
average
taking on
10-year-old's
these
reading
traditional
list.
No,
human
not at
roles.
all. I mean,
What about
it points
jobs?
to this incredible
A lot of people are
intellectual
worried that
drive,
AI
this hunger to
collaboration will
understand
eventually
how
lead
things
to job
work, and
displacement.
not
What are your
just
thoughts on that?
it's a
not just
valid
on a
concern
theoretical
and a
level, but like
complex one.
on a practical,
The
how to
reality
build
is that
it kind
some
of
jobs
level.
will inevitably
Exactly.
be
And that's
impacted
that's
as
something
AI
we see
becomes
play
more
out
integrated
very
into
early on,
various
because by
industries.
12,
The World Economic
he's
Forum
not only
predicts that
teaching
by
himself to
2030,
code, but
around
he's actually
85 million
created
jobs
a
could be
video game.
displaced due to
Blast
automation
her.
and
Yeah,
AI.
blast him. And
However,
he sold
it's
it
important to
for
look at the bigger
$500.
picture.
I mean,
There's always a
that's
however
pretty
with these
remarkable for a
predictions.
12-year-old.
Exactly. The
It's
same
like
report
this
also
early
predicts that this
entrepreneurial
shift will lead to
spirit
the
is
creation
already
of
starting to
97
emerge.
million
It really
new
is. I mean,
jobs.
he's
These
identifying
will
a
be roles
need,
that leverage
he's creating a
the unique
product to fill that
capabilities of
need,
both
and then
humans and
he's actually
AI.
selling it.
We'll see a
It's
rise in demand
it's
for AI
it's a
trainers,
pretty
data
amazing
analysts,
display
and
of
countless other
initiative.
roles
Totally.
that we might not
and
even
that,
be able to
that
conceive
kind
of
of
right
drive
now.
seems
So it's
to
not really about job loss.
seems to
It's
stay with
about
him.
job
Because as he
transformation.
enters
It's
his
about
teenage years,
adapting to
you
a
start to
changing
see
landscape and
this
embracing
clear
new skills
ambition
and
to look
opportunities.
beyond
Exactly. And while there
He's
will be
looking towards the
challenges
US,
during
he
this
sees it as the place
transition,
where
there's
he
also
can,
enormous potential to
where
create
he
a
can
more
really
dynamic and
make things
fulfilling work
happen.
environment for
And
everyone.
that's
a
pretty
hopeful outlook.
significant. I mean,
It
it
sounds like we're on
suggests
the
that
verge
even
of a
at that
pretty
age, he
significant
felt like there were
shift in how we
limitations
work
in
in
South
South
Africa.
Well,
That
let's pause
his
here for a
potential
moment
couldn't be
and
fully
pick things
realized
up in the
then.
next part
And
of our
so
deep dive.
at
So
17,
picking up
he
where
makes
we
the move
left
to
off,
Canada,
this whole idea of job
attends Queen's
transformation
University
raises
for a
some
while.
interesting
Yeah,
questions
but
about
then he
the future
transfers
of
to the
work.
University
Like,
of Pennsylvania.
what skills
Ends up
will be
earning
most
degrees
valuable in
in
this
both
new
physics
landscape
and
where
economics.
humans and AI
Interesting
are collaborating
combination.
so closely?
It is. I mean,
But
physics,
We need a whole new
understanding the
playbook
fundamental
for
laws of the
navigating the
universe.
job market.
Economics,
Yeah.
understanding
What do you think
markets,
are there
how
specific
value is
skills
created.
or qualities
It's
that
a
will be
pretty
essential
powerful
for
success in this
intellectual
AI-powered
foundation?
world.
And even while
Absolutely.
he's at
For one, I
Penn,
think
we see those
creativity will be more
entrepreneurial
valuable than
instincts
ever.
kicking
You
in
know,
again.
while
I'm thinking
AI
of that
can
story about
generate
him and his
ideas
friend
and
renting out
content,
that 10-bedroom
it's still
frat
humans who
house.
bring that
Oh, right,
spark of
and turning it
originality,
into a
that
nightclub.
ability to connect ideas on in the surface, it unexpected sounds like ways
typical
to inject
college
emotion
stuff.
and meaning into what we
But
create.
but it's more than
Yeah,
that,
so
right?
AI
it's
might be
that
able to
same
write a
ability
basic
to
song,
spot an
Yeah.
opportunity,
but it's the human
and then,
musician who
act
turns it
on
into something
He's truly
seeing an
moving and memorable.
underutilized
Exactly.
asset.
It's that
He's seeing a
human touch,
potential
that
demand.
ability to tap
and
into our
he's
emotions and
creating something.
experiences that
Right.
will set us
It's
apart
almost
in
like a
world where
mini
AI can
version
handle a lot
of the
technical
bigger
tasks.
ventures
That
that he'll
makes
go on
sense.
to create.
What other
But
skills do you
first,
see
he
becoming
heads to
increasingly
Silicon Valley.
important?
Critical thinking
Enrolls in
is
a
another big
PhD
one,
program
as we
in
rely
energy
more on
physics at
AI
Stanford.
for information
Right,
and
and insights.
But that doesn't last
It's
long,
crucial
does it?
that we don't
2 days.
just
I mean,
blindly accept
that's going to
what
tell
it
you
tells
something.
us.
The dot-com boom is
We need to be
happening,
able to
and he's
question its
drawn to
outputs,
it.
to
He sees
analyze
the
the data
potential
it's
there,
using, and to
and
make
he's
our own
willing
informed
to
judgments.
walk away
it's
from
not
a
just
pretty
about
secure
being
path
able
to
to use
pursue it.
AI tools. It's
It's
about
that
being
calculated
able to think
risk-taking
critically
again, right?
about
Exactly.
the information
Yeah.
those
And that
tools
leads
are
him
giving
to
us.
to
It's about being
Zip2 in
discerning.
1996.
Precisely.
So for
We
those
need
who
to
aren't familiar,
develop a
Zip2
healthy
was essentially
skepticism towards AI,
providing
to
online
understand its
business
limitations
directories and
potential
maps for
biases.
newspapers.
Yeah,
And this
it
ties
was,
into
it was
another
pretty
crucial
groundbreaking
skill,
at the time. I mean, this is
adaptability.
the mid-90s.
The
right?
landscape of
The
work
internet
is
is
changing
still
rapidly,
relatively new
and
for a
those who
lot
can
of people.
adapt quickly,
they're-
learn new
They're
skills, and
basically
embrace
creating
new
these
ways of working
early
will be the
online
ones who
city
thrive.
guides.
It's like that saying, the only
think,
constant is
think kind of
change,
like a
and that's
very
definitely
early
true when
version
it
of
comes
Google
to
Maps
AI
or
and the future
Yelp,
of work.
but
Shifting gears a
specifically
bit,
for
one thing
newspapers
that's been
as
on
they
my
were
mind
starting
as
to
we've
move
been
online.
talking is
And it's
the
a
potential
huge
impact
success.
of
In
AI on
1999,
human connection
Compaq buys
relationships.
Zip2
If we're
for
spending more and more time
$307
collaborating with
million.
AI, does that mean
Yeah,
we'll
a
be less
massive
connected to each other?
validation of
That's
his
a
vision.
fascinating
And for for him
question, and I
personally,
think
I
it's
mean,
something we need
he's
to be
27 years old
mindful
at
of.
this point,
It's important
and
to
his
remember
share of
that
that sale
AI
is
is a
$22
tool,
million.
and like any
That's
tool, it can be
that's
used for good
life-changing
or
money.
for ill. It really
Absolutely,
depends
and
on
it
how
gives
we
him the
choose to
resources,
integrate
but
it into
also
our lives.
the
So it's not
confidence
necessarily
to
a
think
foregone
even bigger.
conclusion that
And that's
AI
exactly what he
will
does. He
lead to
takes
less
$10
human
million
connection.
from that sale
It's more
and
about
launches
being intentional
X.com.
about how we
An
use
online
it
payment
and
company.
making sure we're
The
still
idea was
prioritizing those face-to-face interactions,
to allow people to
those
transfer
real-life
money
relationships.
via email.
Exactly, and in
Again,
fact,
super
AI could even
innovative
be
for its
used to
time.
enhance
Right.
human
I mean, we take
connection
it for
in some
granted
ways.
now, but back
Think
then
about
that
how
was a
video
pretty
conferencing
radical
and social
concept.
media have
It
allowed
was,
us to
and
stay
of course,
connected with
they weren't the
people
only
all
ones
over the
playing in
world.
that space. There was
AI could
Confinity,
take that to the next
co-founded
level,
by Peter
perhaps,
Thiel
by
and Max
providing
Levchin.
real-time
They had
translation,
PayPal.
or even
Fierce
facilitating
competition
more
between the
meaningful
two.
interactions
Oh, yeah.
online.
That's an interesting
Intense.
thought.
But
So instead of
eventually they
replacing human
merged,
connection, AI can
and
actually help us build
it
stronger
wasn't always smooth
relationships
sailing,
and bridge
but
those
ultimately the
geographical
combined
divides.
company
Yeah.
takes
But
on the
speaking
name
of
PayPal.
divides,
And
one of
Elon
the
is
things that
initially
often comes up
CEO,
in
but
discussions
that
about
doesn't last.
AI
No.
is
He's
the
ousted in
potential for
2000.
it to
On his
exacerbate
honeymoon,
existing
actually.
inequalities. Do
Yeah,
you think that's a
a
valid
definite setback.
concern?
Absolutely. We
but
have to be
the story
very
doesn't end
aware
there.
of the
In
potential for
2002,
AI to
eBay
amplify
buys
existing
PayPal for
social and economic
$1.5 billion.
disparities. For
And as the
example,
largest
if access
shareholder,
to AI
Elon
powered
walks away with
education or
$180 million.
healthcare is
So
limited
even with that
to
setback,
certain
he ends
groups,
up with
it could widen the gap between
massive
those who have
financial
access to these
windfall.
Right,
resources
and here's the
those who
thing:
don't.
he could have
So it's
easily
not
just,
enough to just
taken that
develop
money and relax.
amazing
but he
AI
doesn't.
technologies.
Instead, he sets his
We
sights
also
on these
need to ensure
these
that
two
everyone has
incredibly
equitable
ambitious
access to
goals,
those technologies,
revolutionizing
and that they're
the
being
car
used
industry
in a way
with
that
Tesla,
benefits all
and
of
making
society, not
humanity
just a select
a
few.
multiplanetary
Exactly. And
species
that's
with
where
SpaceX.
things like public policy education
It's almost like
and
he goes
ethical
from 0 to
considerations come into
100, right?
play.
I mean, from online
We need to
payments
have those conversations
to
now
electric
to shape
cars
the
and space
development and
travel.
deployment of AI
and that's
in a way
that's
that
something that
promotes
really
fairness
sets him
and
apart. This
inclusivity.
willingness to
It sounds like there's
to
a lot of
jump into these
responsibility that
seemingly
comes with this
unrelated
incredible
fields
power that
and not
AI
just
is
dip his
giving us.
toes in,
It's
but
not
like
just about the
dive
cool
head
gadgets
first.
and the
So
amazing
let's
possibilities.
talk about
It's also
Tesla
about
first.
making sure we're using this
2004, he
technology
invests
in a way that benefits
$6.3
all of
million
humanity.
in Tesla Motors,
But let's
becomes
shift our
chairman
focus
of
to
the
the
board.
future for a bit.
And
Where do
in
you
the
see
early
this
days of
whole
Tesla,
AI
they were rough,
collaboration
right?
thing heading in the
Huge
long run?
challenges,
Well,
production
if we
delays,
look
cost
ahead, say,
overruns,
10 or 20
and
years,
a lot of
I
skepticism
think we
from
can
the
expect
traditional
to
car
see
industry.
AI
I mean, they were
becoming
basically
even
dismissing
more
electric cars
seamlessly integrated
as a
into
fringe
our
idea.
lives. But
It'll
Elon
be
was
less about
convinced,
interacting with
and
AI
meanwhile,
through
he's also laying the
specific
groundwork
devices
for
or
SpaceX,
interfaces,
founded in 2002.
and more about AI being
And the goals
embedded
are
in the
just,
very fabric of our
they're
world.
mind-blowing.
So instead of having to pull
Reduce
out
the
my
cost of
phone to
space
talk to
travel
my AI
and
assistant,
eventually colonize
it'll
Mars.
be more like
Yeah,
the AI is
it's
just
like
there in the
something straight
background
out of those science
anticipating
fiction
my
books you
needs
was
and
reading
helping
as a
me
kid.
navigate my
Totally.
day.
And the
Exactly.
early
It'll
days
be
of
like having
SpaceX
a
were
super
also
intelligent,
marked by
always-on collaborator by our
setbacks,
side, helping
those
us make
first three
decisions,
launches
solve
of the Falcon
problems, and
1
even
rocket,
just
all
stay
failures.
entertained.
Yeah,
That
a
sounds both
stark
exciting
reminder
and a
of
little
just
bit
how
unsettling. What
difficult
about
and
even further out,
risky
like
space
50 or
travel
100
is.
years
And
from
by
now?
2008,
What kind
it
of
seems like both
wild
Tesla and
possibilities are on the
SpaceX
horizon?
are
Now we're
are
really
on the
getting into
brink.
science
Yeah,
fiction
it was
territory.
a
but
make or
Some
break year
experts
for
believe
both
that we could
companies.
eventually
But
see
then in
a
September,
merging of human
SpaceX
and
finally
artificial
achieves a
intelligence.
successful launch
Imagine
of
a
the Falcon 1.
future where our brains
First
are
privately
directly
funded
connected
company
to
to send
AI
a
systems,
liquid-fueled
giving us
rocket into
access
orbit.
to unimaginable
Huge
levels of
achievement.
knowledge and
Game-changer,
processing
really.
power.
Yeah.
Whoa,
And then,
that's
just a few
mind-blowing.
weeks later,
But it
Tesla
also
secures
raises
a
some
$40
pretty
million
profound questions
investment.
about what it
Essentially
means to be
saves them from
human
going
if
under.
our
So this
minds
period
are
of,
merged
of
with
near
AI.
failure,
Does that
followed by these critical
change who
successes,
we are at our core?
it's
a question
testament
philosophers
to
and
his
ethicists will be
resilience,
grappling
his
with
ability
for
to
decades
keep
to come.
going,
It's a
even
whole
when
new
things
frontier, and it's
look
both
pretty
exhilarating
dire.
and
Absolutely.
a little bit
I mean,
daunting to think
that's a
about.
recurring
But
theme in
one
his
thing's
story.
for sure, the future of AI
unwavering
collaboration
belief in
is
his
going to be
long-term
an
vision.
incredible journey.
Even when
It definitely
faced
feels
with,
like we're at
with
the very
massive
beginning
obstacles.
of something truly transformative.
So as we look back
And
at
as
this,
we move
this early
forward,
part of his
I think it's
journey,
crucial that we
what
keep
are
these
the
big
key
questions in
takeaways
mind.
for you?
It's not just about the
Well, I
technology
think,
itself. It's
I
about
think
how
we
we
see
use
this
it to
consistent
shape the
pattern
kind
of
of future we
intellectual
want to live.
curiosity.
I couldn't agree more. The
A
choices we
deep
make
desire
today
to
will have
learn, to
profound
master
implications
complex
for
subjects,
generations to
and then
come. It's
combine
our
with that a very
responsibility
early
to ensure that we're
entrepreneurial
developing
spirit.
and using
Right.
AI
It's not just
just about
in a way that
understanding
benefits
things.
all
It's
of
about,
humanity and
it's
creates a
about
more
building
just and
things, about
equitable
making things
world.
happen.
Well said. It sounds
Exactly.
like we're just
And then
scratching
you
the
add to that
surface of what's
his
possible
ambition,
with AI collaboration.
his desire
But
to
let's pause
seek
here
out
for
bigger
now
and
and
bigger
pick up the
challenges
conversation in
and
the
of course
final
that
part of
willingness
our deep
to
dive.
take risks.
So it's
to
amazing
bet
to
big
think
on his
about
ideas.
how
And to
far
keep
AI has
going
already
even
come.
when those bets don't
And even
initially
more
pay off.
mind-boggling to imagine like
That
where it's
resilience
headed.
is key. I mean,
Yeah,
you can
it really
see
is a
how those
remarkable
early
journey,
experiences
and we're
teaching
just
himself to
getting
code,
started,
navigating the
As
early
we
days of
kind
the
of
internet,
wrap up
all of
this
that
deep dive,
I'm
all
really
of that
curious to get your
shaped his
perspective on
approach
something we
to
touched on earlier,
problem
this whole
solving,
idea of
to
humans
risk-taking,
and AI
and ultimately
co-evolving.
to his
That's a
ambition
concept that I
to
think about a
tackle
lot. It really
these
captures my
these
imagination
huge
too.
world-changing
It's not just about
problems.
AI
It's an
becoming
amazing
more
story.
sophisticated.
And
It's
as we
about
wrap
us
up
humans
this deep
adapting
dive
and
into
evolving
Elon Musk's
alongside it.
early
It's like a
years,
two-way street. Let's
So it's
leave
not
our
just
listeners
AI
with
changing
this.
us, it's
Think
us
about
changing
how his
AI.
early exposure
Exactly.
to
We're
science
shaping
fiction,
AI
those
with our
stories of
values, our
boundless
goals, our
possibilities, and his
creativity,
ability to
and in turn,
code,
AI is
to
pushing us to
translate
think
ideas into
differently,
reality,
to solve
how
problems
all
in
of
new
that might
ways
have
to
shaped
expand our
not
own
just his career
capabilities.
choices,
Yeah, it's
but
like this
also
incredible
the
feedback
sheer
loop, each one
scale of
pushing
his
the other to new
ambitions.
heights.
What
Exactly.
seeds
And
planted
as
in
this
those early
co-evolution
years ultimately
continues,
blossomed
who
knows what
into these
incredible
world-altering
breakthroughs
goals.
we'll
It's
achieve
a
together. We
fascinating
might
question
unlock
to ponder.
solutions
It
to
really
some
is.
of humanity's
And it speaks to the
biggest
power of
challenges.
early influences,
From
of those
climate
formative
change to
experiences that
disease
shape who we become
eradication, we might
and what
even
we ultimately
discover
strive to
entirely
achieve.
new forms of art,
Absolutely.
music, and
Thanks for
storytelling.
joining us on
It's
the
almost
deep
like we're
dive.
entering
having
this
me.
uncharted territory together, humans and AI, hand in hand.
And that's what makes this such an exciting time to be alive. There's so much potential, so much possibility. It's up to us to harness this power responsibly and to shape this future in a way that benefits all of humanity.
Well said. I think that's a perfect note to end on. This deep dive has been a real eye-opener for me, and I hope it's been the same for you listening out there.
It's been a pleasure discussing this with you.
A huge thank you to you for joining us and sharing your incredible expertise, and to our listeners, thanks for diving deep with us. Remember, the future of AI collaboration is still being written, and we all had a role to play in shaping that story. So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep imagining the possibilities until next time.